Yo, yo, yo. Shades is in the building. About to react to the top 10 DC animated movies. This is by ScrewAttack. You know what I'm saying? They be coming with that little fire. So, let's go ahead and hop into the video. Check it out, alright?
It's no secret that DC's movies have been kind of, divisive in terms of quality, but the good news is that their animated movies have actually been good. Like, really good. So much so that we wanted to talk about the very best ones.
Okay.
And also because we think DC could use some positivity after Justice League. I'm just saying. So hey, I'm Nervous Nick for ScrewAttack's Top 10 Animated DC Movies.
Alright.
Number 10.
I'll bet you thought this whole top 10 would be nothing but Batman and Superman, didn't you? Well, you would be more or less basically beforehand, but that doesn't mean that the old Flash can't have his moment in the spotlight first. In Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox, Barry Allen accidentally finds himself in an alternate universe where everything is wrong. So he's got to find a way to get back to his own world while also fixing the one that he finds himself trapped in. It's kind of like Back to the Future, only superhero or Besides, who wouldn't want to see a world where Thomas Wayne became Batman and Martha Wayne becomes the Joker? Answer?
What?
Not Barry Allen, because he never got his powers in this universe. Kind of throws a wrench into things. And it also makes the Flashpoint Paradox easy top 10 material.
Okay.
Number 9.
Superhero origin stories are literally everywhere. But how often do you wonder about how a hero's journey might end? And what if that hero were freaking Superman? Despite how bonkers you'd think a story like this would play out, All-Star Superman is not a race against the clock like you'd expect. Instead, it spends a surprising amount of time just showing how Supes would spend his final living days. But don't let the title fool you, though. All-Star Superman is almost as much about Lex Luthor as it is Clark Kent, and by the end of the film, let's just say that Lex finally understands his lifelong nemesis in a way he never had before. Not to mention that it's got one of Lex Luthor's manliest moments ever.
You know what happens when you take on Lex Luthor? The same thing that's gonna happen to Superman.
All-Star Superman is the kind of movie that downplays the super and emphasizes the man behind the most famous comic book hero ever made.
Number 8.
Alright, I know I just told you guys you're gonna see a lot of Batman on this list, but really, you're about to see a lot of Batman. And there's no better Batman movie to start with than Lego Batman. Hey, it's DC and it's animated, it counts. Unlike most films on this list, the Lego Batman movie is as tongue-in-cheek as they come. It is pretty much nothing but jokes. But they're funny jokes that hit home for die-hard DC fans. You know all those ridiculous villains that show up for 2 seconds in the beginning? Yeah, they're all real. Even Condiment King. But that's just the start. The entire Lego Batman movie is packed with self-referential
it was pretty
humor
funny.
that makes it a lot of fun for fans and casuals to watch. Plus, who would have guessed that Will Arnett can make such a great Batman?
Don't call me Padre.
Okay.
Call me Daz. Number 7.
Obviously, Batman Beyond is a really sweet take on the world of the Dark Knight, and in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, we get a 7-course meal of everything that makes it so great. Excellent characters, spectacular animation, and they just straight killed a guy on screen in a movie for kids, didn't they? But we all remember Return of the Joker for an even more chilling scene. One of the most haunting moments in any superhero movie to date. It's that flashback when Batman finds his old protege brainwashed by the Joker. This was such a disturbing moment that only got darker when the former Robin ended the Joker once and for all. But you know what bugs me even more about this movie? If a cartoon character watches another cartoon, what does that mean? Are you trying to tell me that Bugs Bunny is like an actor in the same world as Batman? How does that work? I need answers, ScrewAttack fans!
Number 6.
Because come on, you gotta have at least one origin story on this list, right? A lot of Frank Miller's Batman Year One is gonna feel super familiar if you've seen Batman Begins. But that doesn't take away from what makes the direct animated adaptation so wonderful. I could go on and on about the superb animation and stuff, but Bryan Cranston is Gordon. This is a correct choice. Plus, Year One also gave us that underrated Batman line.
From this moment on, none of you are safe.
Yeah, I kinda like that part better before they retconned it so that Batman peed his pants in that scene. No, I'm not kidding. And thank you, Kevin Smith. Also, why is Catwoman a prostitute here?
Number
I never seen that
5.
one.
The live-action Wonder Woman movie was pretty great, and I'm not just saying that because DC set the bar of expectations so low with their other films. I'm saying that that's what happens when your script is copy and pasted from the 2009 Wonder Woman film. Okay, it's not actually that simple, but it seems pretty obvious how inspirational the animated movie was. Wonder Woman's origin story follows similar beats, your central plot is about Ares manipulating people, and Diana even stops bullets in an alleyway so that Steve Trevor doesn't get capped. But above all, it's a well-written movie. And I don't just mean the funny bits.
God, your daughter's got a nice rack.
Shall I kill him now?
Wonder Woman
Oh,
also delivers
snap.
an important message about men and women understanding each other, and that remains important to this day. Even though this movie doesn't exactly handle it with what you might call subtlety. But hey, it's still a great watch.
Okay.
Number 4.
Major props to so many recent movies dominating the list and all, but there is a classic animated adventure that must be high on this list. For those of you
which
who've
one is
seen
this?
Batman Mask of the Phantasm, you know what's
Like,
up.
did I see this
Those of you
before?
who haven't,
Probably
I'll keep
so,
it
because this stuff is old.
Thank
It
you,
looked like
watch
the
it
old
yourselves.
Batman. It used to
To
come on
this
TV
day,
back in
Mask
the
of
day.
the Phantasm has some of the best storytelling out of any flick DC has ever done. All you really need to know is Bruce Wayne's secret love interest, some weird smoke villain with a hook hand,
Okay, I've
and
seen
that
this before.
ending that just...
As well as pretty good.
You know what? I really can't say anymore. So I'm just gonna let the Joker's epic laugh wrap up this entry.
Number 3.
Capes and bright-colored costumes just are not cool anymore. Everybody seems to want their heroes to be edgier, darker, sexier, and willing to cross that line. And I'm not just talking about in real life. I'm talking about the adaptation of one of the all-time greatest Superman stories ever told, the animated Superman vs. the Elite. So when these four
I've
weirdos
seen this
who
one
call
before.
themselves the Elite come out of nowhere and start doing the hero thing in their own brutal way, they win the favor of the entire world. Suddenly, Superman's old way of never taking a life just doesn't cut it anymore. Everybody knows that the last son of Krypton is all but invincible physically. But this movie is about what happens when the incorruptible Man of Steel has to make the toughest decision of his life. Superman vs. the Elite asks that most important question of when is it all right to compromise on your morals? And once it gets going, it's impossible to take your eyes off of it.
Number 2.
If you know even just the most basic things about the Joker, Ra's al Ghul, and Jason Todd, you'll have Batman Under the Red Hood's mystery solved in the first 5 minutes. But just like revisiting a favorite movie, you watch this animated gem because of how well it tells the story. Batman is the world's greatest everything ever, except when it comes to interacting with humans. And Under the Red Hood is all about one of his greatest failures coming back to haunt him. Hey, superheroes are fun and all, but we like them even better when they're deconstructed like Bruce Wayne is in this movie. Throw in one of the most intimidating takes on the Joker courtesy of Bender from Futurama, along with some of the best animation WB has ever put out, and you've got one of the greatest DC films, period.
It's number 1.
One.
Okay, not to contradict a lot of what we just said in that Superman vs. the Elite entry about, gritty heroes a minute ago, but we're going full on grim and depressing for number 1. It's
Okay.
not the only animated DC film to ask how a classic hero's story might end, but The Dark Knight Returns Parts 1 and 2
I've seen this
are
before. This
just
was
as
that
fascinating
business.
an answer as you could ever hope for.
This was that
Or maybe
business.
more specifically, as weird an answer as you could ever hope for. I mean, Batman goes from racing Formula 1 cars to fighting a topless Nazi woman while dressed as a grandma to using a robot suit to fight Superman while being helped by a one-armed Green Arrow. Like, what? But what we really love about The Dark Knight Returns is that between Batman's old age and the new Robin's inexperience, there's this constant sense of dread that our heroes are in real danger at all times. Danger that reaches its peak in the final showdown between the Bat and the Clown. In DC's world of animated adventures, it's ridiculously steep competition for number 1. But for us, The Dark Knight Returns has the very best elements of DC's other fine works, all wrapped up into one wild adventure. It just
Yeah,
leaves
this was
me
that business.
with one question. How is Catwoman still a prostitute? For the secret number 11, you can't go wrong with Justice
that was
League.
Wonder Woman,
Crisis
man.
on
What's
two
it been,
words.
Catwoman?
And I don't just say
Oh,
that because
snap.
James Woods voices an evil alternate universe Batman, as strange as that sentence is to say.
Okay.
It's a high-stakes battle between worlds that decides the fate of, like, everything. Actually, all of existence hangs in the balance of this film. As far as ensemble Justice League films go, this is one of the absolute best.
Well. That's a pretty good list, And I actually agree with number one, because when I first seen that part one and part two, I was like, dang, Batman is extra old. He doing better, whatever. I'm like, what the heck? Dressing up as the old lady or whatnot. Then when he had to fight all them clowns, man. You know what I'm saying? That was a decent two-part thing. I know when I first seen the first part, I couldn't wait to see the part two. I was like, come on now, how y'all ain't gonna let me see part two yet? And I seen part two, and I was like, alright, this what's happening. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Good list. Well, if y'all like the video, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to comment. You know, subscribe to the channel if you like to see some more things. And on that note, Shades is out the building. To the next video, I get at y'all. Alright.